We went to Sicily without walkie-talkies, and I thought I'd try and code my own, but I can't code Swift. So, in my infinite wisdom, I decided to vibe code them. It didn't quite go to plan.
Hi, I'm John Anthony, and if you see the beautiful rocks behind me, you'll probably guess that I'm rock climbing, which is my favourite way to spend a holiday. When we got here, we couldn't bring our walkie-talkies, and when you're climbing quite high cliffs or when it's busy, it's not always easy for the climber at the top to hear the belayer, who's normally below, although that can also switch around depending on how you're climbing. So I decided it was probably easier to make my own walkie-talkies. Now, there's often not any signal at the crag, which is what we call the cliffs when we're there. So I needed something that would peer connect over Wi-Fi, so two iPhones are good for that. And then we could just use our normal Bluetooth headsets.
I tend to find the best way to vibe code is to write really decent specs. So here, first of all, I write an overview. Now, I've written that overview out roughly. I've also narrated it, and I've actually narrated it into ChatGPT and got it to spit out something quite nice as to how I think the walkie-talkies ought to be. Now we have our overview and our specs. The next thing to do is to create a plan and a to-do list. I do all of this before we start coding. So with the specs and the overview and the to-do list, it's time to let Claude Code do its thing. This actually involves quite a lot of iterations. The first thing that it makes tends not to work, then we try again, make some tweaks, try again, make some tweaks, try again. So let's see how the first iteration goes.
Okay, let's give it a try. So we have one phone here, and I'm going to set this up to be the host. And I have another phone here, and I'm going to set that up to join the host. So look, it can already see John 1. I'm going to press John 1, and then if we're lucky, these two phones will connect and talk to each other. Now, let's see how we get on. Trying to connect. Starting. Not connecting.
So as you can see from my face there, a pretty massive fail, but don't give up. So this really for me is where tools like Claude Code tend to run out of steam. So as you can see, I did get it all connecting and wired up in the end. The secret was to put lots of debug in. The reason it wasn't connecting was because when the Bluetooth was enabled, that killed the Wi-Fi peer-to-peer connection. So I then had to re-enable the Wi-Fi peer-to-peer connection or try and set up the Bluetooth before doing the Wi-Fi. Both of those worked, and in the end it did work perfectly well. Hello, testing, 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 testing. So it's working, and tomorrow we're going to take these rock climbing, finally.
Just in case anybody's interested in this project, I have, of course, made it an open source project, and the link will be in the description.